All right, we are ready to create the second drawing in Onshape here. We're in Chapter 6. This is Exercise 2. This is what I have named the Escher Cube. If you're not familiar with the artist M.C. Escher, make sure that you get online and check out some of his particular work. So let's go ahead and create a document. So we'll name this Escher, E-S-C-H, cube. So, and then of course you're putting your hyphen and your first initial followed by your last name to start this document. So now, as we go through and start this, we're going to start by sketching a 4" by 4" square and then extruding it up 4 inches so that we get the 4 by 4 by 4 cube. So, and I'm going to sketch on this time, I'm going to sketch on the top plane. So let's go ahead and sketch. So notice my sketch, I'm selected the top surface plane. So let's go ahead and hit the view cube, bring this around so that we are looking at this at the view normal. We're seeing this. Now, the last time we did this, we used the corner rectangle tool. I could still use the corner rectangle tool, use the orientation and kind of move it up and to the right or whichever quadrant I want to be in. In this case, I'm going to use the center point rectangle just so you can kind of see the difference in the tool. So I will left click on the origin, move it up and to the right and left click. It doesn't matter at this point for me to get the size because notice the box here is kind of populated, so I can put my dimension in. So I'll hit 4 enter for the horizontal. That opens up the vertical, and hit 4 enter. So now I've got my 4" by 4" square. So I'm finished with the sketch. So we'll go ahead and click off the check mark. I like to come over and make this the isometric, so we're going to extrude this up by 4 inches. So let's go ahead and hit the extrude, click on the shape, so we can kind of pull this up using the arrow, but in reality we just need to go over here to the depth and hit 4 and enter to make that a 4 by 4 by 4 cube. Let's left click the green check mark, so that way you have got your cube here. And we know that this corner section here needs to come out as well. Now, we can sketch on this surface. We can sketch on, this is the front surface. We can sketch on the right side surface, or we can sketch on the top and extrude down. So really the choice is yours. I'm going to sketch on the top surface. So let's go ahead and hit the sketch. So I'm going to sketch on this plane. Let me bring back the top of view. In this case, I am going to use the corner rectangle tool. Left click and hit up and to the right. It doesn't matter what the size is, so we'll go ahead and click that, and again we're just placing that. Now notice, so I left clicked to place it, and I left clicked again, so I didn't get any dimensional constraints. So if you get dimensional constraints on this when you do that, it's going to cause you some problems, because I'm going to dimensionally constrain this according to the actual drawing. And you'll notice in the drawing, as far as our exercise, that we are 1.5 inches from this edge to this edge. So let's go ahead and create that dimensional constraint. So from here to here is going to be 1.5. Now I did 1. I left clicked here, left clicked there, dropped it down, and dropped the dimension to 1.5. Now, notice sometimes you get things going goofy here, so and that's all right. So hit the escape button to get out of your dimensional command. So you can kind of just grab and bring that back down to have an idea. We're going to dimensionally constrain this. Now, if yours goes all the way up here, you do kind of have to left click and drag this back down, because if you tried to just dimensionally constrain it from here to here, like is shown in our drawing, let's take a look. That is 1.25 inches. So if you try to do that from here, it's going to make it 1.25 from that side, and that's not what you want. So sometimes you will have to grab, left click and hold to drag an entity where you want. Now I can go back and dimension this. So left click on that line, left click on that edge. So bring it over, left click to drop the dimension, and this is going to be 1.25. Enter. So there we go. That sketch is finished. Let's click on the green check mark. So let's come back to our isometric here. We can see where this is. Now I'm going to extrude this. Now, so notice in this case I'm coming down and it turns red. That's because we are in the add feature here for extrusion. We don't want to add material here. We want to remove it. So go ahead and select the removal, and we can take a look at the depth. In this case, it doesn't give us a depth. If you look at it, it doesn't give us a depth from here to there. It gives us a dimension from the bottom up to that, which is shown right here at 1.2 inches. So in this case, I'm just going to do a little bit of math, and we know 4 inches minus 1.2 is going to be 2.8. So we'll place that and hit enter. There we go. Click on the green check mark, so that extrusion is finished. So the only other thing we have to do on this drawing right now is create the 2 circles. And we notice on this feature, this is 1 1/4 inch diameter, and on this feature, it is a 1 inch diameter. So now I can start by going ahead, and this is going to be a simple hole. So and I can start by drawing a sketch with a circle diameter and extruding it, or I have a hole feature right here. So let's go ahead and let's see what this hole feature is. Let's left click on the hole. So notice I get all sorts of different objects here for types of holes that we need. In this case, this is just going to be a simple hole. And the hole size right here is going to be a drilled hole, so we will kind of go through, notice all of our number and letter drills here that we've got, and our fractional sizes. So in this case, this is going to be 1 1/4. Now, this only goes up to 1 on this drill size, so we will need to go 1 1/4 inch diameter. And this also gives us the size. So notice it doesn't like that size. So in this case, we may need to use the actual circle hole sketch. So let's go back, click out of that. So let's go back and create a sketch right here on this plane. I'm going to bring this around. So go ahead with a center point rectangle or center point circle. Be careful. Notice how it's kind of auto snapping to a point on that particular edge. So be careful of that. Right now we don't want it to auto snap. So just bring it up here. We're going to dimensionally constrain that our way. So draw your circle, left click to place the circle, and then 1.25 is the diameter. So hit enter. Now we go back up here to our dimensional constraints, and we are looking from the top edge to the center of that hole. From here to the top edge is 1.25. So I've dimensionally constrained that, and I also need to dimensionally constrain the other dimension. So notice this is the dimension 1.25, and I also have a dimension over. So let's go ahead and click on the center, and it's to this edge here. That is also going to be 1.25. 1.25, enter. So now that has been dimensionally constrained with my sketch. Hit the left click on the green check mark to get rid of that. Let's come back into our isometric view. We're going to once again extrude this here. So I'm going to left click on the circle, move this back. Again, you'll see how it kind of, when you're inside that solid, it's red because it doesn't want you to add material. It wants you to remove the material. So let's click on remove. And again, this isn't going to be a blind hole, so we're going to go all the way through it. So it through all now. And of course, this drawing, it doesn't really show us that, and it doesn't give us call out. It just tells us that it's 1 1/4 inch diameter. So we don't really know at this point whether it goes all the way through or not, but we're going to assume for this exercise that it does. So I'm through all, hit the green check mark on the extrusion. So now you can kind of press your roller track to kind of move this around. If you also press and hold on the shift, so we can kind of rotate and you can see that hole as it goes through. So, all right, now let's go ahead back to our isometric view. So we do know that we do have a 1-inch diameter, so I am going to use the hole feature over here. So let's go back to that hole, bring this up. This is going to be a simple hole. So, and again, so as we take the hole type, notice we got drilled hole, clearance hole, tap hole. So it's just going to be a simple drilled hole. Let's go ahead and select the size. So this is going to be a 1-inch diameter. So as far as the actual hole goes, and we're going to select now, so where we want this to be. And the termination here says through all. We can make a blind, we can say up to next, up to entity. So right now, a blind hole will go a certain depth through all. So we'll just kind of concentrate on those two. So we'll get to the other ones later in other drawings. So let's say through all, and it says start from part, start from sketch plane, start from selected plane. So I'm going to start from the selected plane here. So in terms of what I need. Now, notice it's not really showing anything as far as that goes. So we need to kind of tell it something else as we go. So what is the actual sketch plane? So it's asking for some sketch points or selected make connectors. So we've got some issues here where it doesn't necessarily know exactly where we want this. So in order to do this, we've got to come back. So let's cancel out of that, just so you understand. We do need to create a sketch plane on this surface, and in this case, we're going to create a point. So let's go ahead and add a point. So we will add that point to this face. Now let's kind of rotate this around here this way. We're going to have to dimensionally constrain this as well. So we know that the point from here to there is a distance of 1.25. So, and the distance from here to this plane, or that edge, is also 1.25. So now we've placed that point. So check mark to the sketch. Let's come back into the isometric view. Now we can actually place the hole. So in order to place the hole, we do need to have a point on there. So let's go back. This is going to be a simple hole. Now it's pretty easy. We just kind of select the actual hole size. Go back to the 1-inch hole. It's a simple hole, and in terms of our termination, it is through all. So we'll go ahead and hit the check mark, and there we are. We are finished. This has drawing is completed. So we'll just go ahead, isometric view. Let's go ahead and poke it in the eye on the top, front, and right views just to kind of hide those. Notice we're getting the origin point here too. So if you want to hide that origin point, right here is the origin. You can also hide that origin point. And our Escher cube is now finished.